Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to our January 16th, 2024 council meeting. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Okay, first item on the agenda is a joint public hearing to address an amendment to the zoning code as it relates to the Marina overlay to include the removal of a hotel as a permitted use. Mr. Ryan Ross, if you would take it away, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. We are here for a public hearing for the draft red lines for the Article 10 Marina Overlay District. Just to give a quick summary on what those red lines are, it is a removal of item C under section 19-999 permitted uses. And that item C is for hotels. It redlines out that entire section and then re-enumerates subsequent sections underneath that. And that is the only red line that has been proposed for change. We have public hearing comments for that red line and those changes alone. We do not have anyone signed up for public hearing comments on that item. You might have been on the wrong list. Go ahead. Floor is yours. Name, address, and 3 minutes? 3 minutes. I believe that might have, do you know, I'm looking at the one on the current agenda. Do you know what section? Do you know what section that was by chance? Mm-hmm. Okay. On the version I'm looking at, there is not a red line on that. There is not a red line from city staff. That red line has been removed, yes. Correct.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay. All right. Laurel Bougie, 26007 Morningside Drive. I just want to state that, again, I'm very concerned with the lack of due diligence regarding the land exchange, but I will keep my comments very specified to the red lines. So seeing as the red line for the comments regarding the noise restrictions has been removed, I will keep my comment short in regarding the red line to section 19-1000 Article C under hotels. While I appreciate planning's willingness to strike out the hotel, I do disagree with the removal of Article 1 as a requirement for development. This requirement stated that the hotel must have access to a major thoroughfare or through a commercial project which shall be designed to avoid a negative impact on general traffic. I'm unsure why this requirement would be specifically listed under the hotel, but it stands to reason that if it was a requirement for an intended 65-room hotel, it would stand for a 300-person yacht club, restaurant, or bed and breakfast. So that would wrap up my comments, considering the noise ordinance comment has been removed.
Awesome.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Anybody else? I will open the floor. If you signed up for the wrong list or on the wrong list for public comments, I will entertain anyone else that had public comments for this red line section. Awesome. No other comments? Mr. Mayor, hand it back to you. Public hearing is over.
Thank you, sir. Okay, our next item is year-end reports, Development Services, Police and Fire. So, start with Shayna Carruthers, please.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. It's my pleasure to be here tonight. I'm Shanae Carruthers, Business Service Manager. I would like to first start with highlighting our staff. First with Brian Wessinger, who achieved Master Code Professional, and Lewis Thomason, who acquired his Property Maintenance Inspector certification. Also, we have Brian Lewis, Nick Coffin, and Ben Buchanan continuing their professional development through continuing education. And we had 3 new employees start their careers with us this past year as well. I can't say enough about our staff and the great job that they do for the city. With our building and inspections, we issued a total of 1,233 permits, 522 zoning permits, 711 construction permits, 112 new homes, and we conducted 4,340 inspections. Starting with new construction, the residential area for Wendell Woods, construction started for Phase 1, Map 1. We have 28 single-family homes approved. In Windhaven Residential, we have Phase 3, Map 1 approved with 43 townhomes. Phase 3, Map 2 approved with 66 townhomes, and construction has been completed for Map 1 and has started for Map 2. Residential in Trinity Point, the final phase of construction has been completed with 167 townhomes total. Moving on to planning and zoning. Under planning, the preliminary plat for Wendell Woods was approved, which includes approximately 50 acres and 130 dwelling units, including carriage homes. The closed Atkins property was annexed on Dam Road, which includes approximately 22 acres and up to 70 homes. And the city's list of prioritized projects were finalized and submitted to York County for Pennies for Progress 5 consideration. With zoning, the mobile food vendor ordinance amendments were researched and proposed to best meet the needs of our residents and vendors, and we conducted 3 cases by the Board of Zoning Appeals. Business license, we processed 190 new business licenses and 1,246 renewals for a total of 1,436. We continue to work with our third-party collection agency, HDL, who was formerly known as DataMax, to enhance our revenues with our licenses. And we continue to work with MAS regarding business license processes. We have several commercial upfits that have occurred, and that's new businesses moving into existing spaces. And these are the new tenants residing in existing commercial. We have JobServe, TSG, the Sourcing Group, Traditional Brows and Beauty, Up Level Martial Arts, Palavarthi Group, Santashi's Kitchen, Harmony Or, and Facial Serve. So, Council, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen, and this concludes the annual report for Development Services.
Thank you, Shanae.
Good evening, Mayor and member of councils. It's an honor tonight to be able to stand before you and share the accomplishments of the police department for the year 2023. Tonight, I brought my command staff with me as well as a few of the officers from within the department. I felt like it was really important for you to see the faces of the men and women that are actually doing the work for this community. I came in with a philosophy and a strategy that I knew would work if people would buy into it. And I hope tonight, through the giving you of this data, you'll see that these officers have certainly bought into it and that they're working very hard for this community, and I'm certainly proud of them. For those of you that are returning on the council, you know, and for the two new council members, in the latter part of 2022, we adopted a 3-year plan. And tonight's report, you will see that 3-year plan to where we talk about how we have achieved those goals. When we adopted the 3-year plan, we come up with 5 major objectives that we wanted to work on. The first one was positively impact employee satisfaction, build the trust and relationships through community engagement. We wanted to work on professional development. We wanted to continue to be the safest city and increase our efficiency through education and outreach. And then also we wanted to talk about our infrastructure investment in the organization. This is a wall within our police department. Now, when you go into the work bay, this is one of the first things that the officer sees in the morning time, and it's one of the last things they see when they go home. Our mission and our vision and our values are extremely important to us, and one of the things that we talk about is the mission is something that we want to accomplish every day. Our vision is our long-term plan, and then our values are something that we want to live by and exemplify to this community. And just in summary, our mission, we take a lot of pride in that. And it says that we serve the community and our team by demonstrating pride and doing the common things in an uncommon way. And pride stands for personally responsible and delivering excellence. We share with our team every day, we don't expect for you to be perfect, but every day when you come in the gate, we want you to give this community your very best. In our vision statement, we got some very powerful words. We want to be a partner with this community. We want to do it with the highest level of public service, with executing ethical and effective law enforcement practices. And also, we want to create a positive work culture so that our team members, they enjoy coming to work and they want to achieve their personal goals and their organizational mission. So the first objective that we worked on was positively impacting employee satisfaction. In 2022, you'll see some of the things that we achieved there. In 2023, we began focusing on our healthy culture and positive morale. We focus on that mission and that vision statement. We develop coaches to develop relationships with their team members by demonstrating care and empathy. We empowered our team members to make decisions, from the sergeants to the corporals. That's your decision. You make it. You own it. We invested in our team members. We strongly encourage a work-life balance, and we are committed to improving that for our officers so they're not having to work all the time. When they're off, we want them to be off. We want the cell phone off. We want them to enjoy their time with their family. We have retreats to talk about what we're doing well. Where can we improve at? Our communication, we improved those by having team meetings. We implemented and instituted briefings so we could share information and train. We have an employee advisory committee that was made up of officers throughout the organization of each rank, to where they hold a meeting with whenever they want to, where they sit down with me and they ask me any question they want to. It can be a rumor about something that's going on, something they don't understand, a new project they want to try, a new piece of equipment they want. We've got some great ideas from that employee advisory committee, and that was something that we implemented this year, and I'm very proud to hear their ideas and what they have to bring to the table. Thanks to you and the city manager, we adjusted our pay and our starting salary. We restructured the organization for growth and development. And one of the things that we're very proud of is our wellness program. We place Sergeant Ectonall at the head of this program. He went to college for a physical fitness background and a health background. We want to invest in our officers to make sure they are physically fit, mentally healthy, and have a good home life the best they can. Because if we can do that, then when they're at work, they will serve these citizens to the best of their ability. So we implemented a fitness program to where they are allowed to work out while they're on duty. They have a diet plan. We have instituted a chaplain program to where this year the chaplain did a emotional survival for law enforcement, not just with the officers, but with their family. We hosted mental health training. We partnered with a mental health clinician and wellness coach for mental health. We started a peer-to-peer group to where they can talk about their feelings and what they're experiencing, and debriefing for critical incidents. Now, you may ask me, why all this? I hear it all the time. We're just in TKK. These men and women that you see behind me, they've had 3 critical incidents this year. And if I told you what they saw, it would break your heart. If I told you things they went home with, it would break your heart. And so it's important for us to make sure that they're healthy once they get home, so they can be healthy for their families just as much as they're healthy for these citizens. Professional development. Sergeant Timms, who's here to my left, we promoted him this year and made him the training sergeant because we wanted to focus on the training of our organization and to improve our officers and their skill set. And he has done a phenomenal job. As you see, and these numbers are actually updated since we are giving this presentation now. Actually, for the year of 2023, we had 2,306 training hours. Through December, we had 2,407 training hours. As you see in 2021, we had 872. And then last year, we had 1,090. So you can see there's a significant increase and an effort being made to give our officers quality training. We started our training development course this year for our sergeants. We took classes for community policing. We implemented a program to where officers come in daily and they have tests to take on our policy and procedure manual on a certain policy or procedure. We also sent officers to the FBI leader training for Command College. Lieutenant Reap went to the Command College. Major Patterson and Captain Holland went to Internal Affairs. And then Sergeant Ectonall, Sergeant Williams, and Corporal Edwards also went to training for supervision training. We had missing child and abduction training with the FBI. We had mental health training. We participated in the joint training session with active shooters with the county and local area law enforcement agencies. And we also had training on search and seizure, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, and then Corporal Jones also went and became a less lethal instructor. Infrastructure investment, and we brought some things for you to see tonight because you have been so gracious to approve these things for us. We have a replacement body cameras. They have been ordered, and actually they are in. So tonight we brought them for you to see. So we have the brand new Axon body cameras that every officer will be wearing now. We're replacing our Motorola body cameras. We also have replaced our in-car cameras. They will be going in within the next month, so every car will have a new in-car camera. We got new vehicles, 4 new vehicles, and then also an SRO vehicle. We received new tasers. Each officer on the road has a brand new taser. We got the Guardian Angel lights, which is the flashing lights that you see on their shoulders to make sure they're safe. We have a new handgun system, which we improved our handgun scores by 22% by switching to this new system. And then we also have the new less than lethal program that we are doing there. We also wanted to focus on building our relationships with our community. So this year we hosted 3 public safety town hall meetings. Many of you attended that, where we provided statistics and data and also crime prevention tips. We met with our business members and provided information to them. What I think is very important for our community, we had training on cultural diversity training, bias-based police training, de-escalation training, and emotional intelligence training. We offered Public Safety Citizens Academy. Unfortunately, that did not take off, but we're going to try to do that again. Through our social media specialists, we've focused on our social media engagement. And I am proud to announce that you will see on social media that we have received a grant from the state of South Carolina to put an officer in one of our elementary schools. I have even better news. The state of South Carolina has approved us for a second grant. So we will now have a police officer in every one of our schools, both elementary school and both middle school. We promoted Sergeant Bowers to be the community service or the community sergeant's position to focus on our community so we can engage. And this year we had 55 community events, 45 of which we hosted, 10 of them that we attended as we were asked to attend. We've got multiple team members that are in the middle school, mentoring middle school kids. We have 11 speaking engagements this year. We had, for formal complaints, we had 8 complaints, only one of which was found to be sustained, which was a driving complaint. So now, as we know, each year we pride ourselves on our statistics of how safe we are. So, let me get my glasses. I'm getting a little bit older. So last year, through November, and the reason why I'm saying through November is because each year we give you these stats. In just a few months, we will also release our year-end report online. Ms. Washington is working on that, and we will have that briefly. But last year, through November, we answered 23,789 calls for service. Of that, 4,244 were traffic-related calls. We conducted 15,317 property checks. And then we had 4,228 calls for service. And on that graph, you can see how that compares with other years. Violent crimes. Through November, we had 5 violent crimes. That went up by 1 in December, so we will end the year with 6 violent crimes. Our property crimes actually went down last year. Through November, we had 116. We concluded the year with 128. As you can imagine, we had 49 shoplifting calls, and then we had 46 larcenies, which makes up a large portion of that data. Traffic collisions are also down. We had 138 through November, and we concluded the year with 152. These are our citations and warnings. In 2023, we had 857 citations, and we issued 3,476 verbal warnings. This year, we also issued 240 parking tickets. And for those that may be wondering, we issued 127 at Windjammer Park. This number here actually should be $5,038. Well, let me try that one more time. $538,135.46. You may ask what that number is. That is what you, the taxpayer, saved. We got grants for $43,740 for our tasers. We had body-worn camera grant for $153,000. Two SRO grants for $168,000. Our benchmark system, we got a grant for $2,700, and a body armor grant for $2,125, for a total of that $538,000, which saved our taxpayers that money. Now, probably, if you will, just for a moment, the piece that I'm most proud of. I'm proud of these men and women. It is an honor for me to stand up here, and it's an honor for me to be on their team. They're not on my team. I'm on their team. And so tonight, I'm going to share with you in this community some of the things you never hear about. Some of the things that they do that never touches the media. Some of the things that probably they don't even want me to tell you, but they do it because they care. Corporal Jones was assisting a motorist, and through his investigation, he found out the person had no money. He took that person to McDonald's and bought him food that night. We had an officer respond to a location in the city regarding a welfare check. The officer discovered a person in a mental health crisis. Officer Canone and Edwards got the person to the resources they needed to have recovery, and then they went back to the home multiple days to check on them to make sure that they were okay, and they got what they needed, and they were doing good. Officer Gallagher and Castelli responded to a call and discovered that a veteran that was having a mental health crisis. The officers talked with the veteran and finally convinced him to go get help. A few days later, they saw that veteran, and he said, I quote, "Because of you, I'm alive today." Officers responded to Walmart, referenced a larceny, and through their investigation, they had learned that a male had his clothing stolen. But the next day, he had a job interview, and he had nothing to wear for that interview. Corporal Sue and Communications Officer Kenny Buck went and purchased him clothes and personal hygiene products with their own money so he could go to that interview the next day and get that job. Officers responded to Sergeant Maggie Bowers last year would shop with a hero. She had a kid that was buying for everybody else, bought for everybody in his family. They get to the cash register, and she learns that that young child doesn't even have a winter coat to keep him warm. She turned around, went back in the store, and her family bought that child a winter coat so he could stay warm. Sergeant Bolin, who's behind me, a couple of months ago, we worked a crime to where the victim, through the course of the crime, lost his shoes. Corporal Bowling, I look up, goes to the back of his car, takes off of his shoes that's on his feet, and gives the man his shoes, reaches into his car, and takes out another pair and puts them on his feet so the man can walk with a pair of shoes. Sergeant Williams, Officer Maxey, and Officer Rouse, they respond to a home regarding a person with dementia. The person was acting very aggressive. The officers recognized this behavior. Through their training, they recognized this person was not intoxicated, he was not being mean, he was having a problem. And they were able to convince that man to get into the ambulance and go get help. Firefighters were called to a house, fighting a fire. In the middle of the fire, they come out because they rescued two dogs, or they rescued a dog and a cat. The dog was lifeless, the cat was alive. You got to meet that dog here. What some of you may not know is that Captain Holland here worked on that dog for over an hour to save its life. We got the dog in the car, got it to the vet, and saved that dog, and Officer Maxey worked on the cat to save the dog and the cat's life. We had a team member that we hired. These officers that you see, they took that team member home every single day. They adjusted their schedule so they could pick that team member up and bring him to work so he could be successful. And then we had Sergeant Timms, who had a spare car. So what happened? Sergeant Timms donates the car. Captain Holland, Major Patterson work on the car through the donations of people in the department that gave money for this to happen. And they presented this young man with a car so he could get back and forth to work to be a good teammate. We've had team members that needed various different needs, and these men and women have stepped up to take care of their own. That's just a little bit of what they've done this year. And so on behalf of the men and women of the TKK Police Department, it's been our honor to serve you. It's been our honor to serve you in the community in 2023. And I hope tonight when you walk out of here that you know we're proud to wear this patch, and we hope that you're proud of us. Thank you.
Chief Hasty, if you would, sir.
It's just one of those things, we ride together a lot, so life's good. Good evening. We do a lot of things together, which is awesome. One of the best relationships between police and fire that I've ever experienced in my career. We are a tight group, so I'm very thankful for that. So let me talk to you a little bit about the fire department tonight. We've done a lot of things in this past year. We've been blessed. A lot of grant money, a lot of things that you guys allowed us to do, and a lot of things to move us forward. So I'm going to share some of those things with you. A lot of things that we do, we're out in the community a bunch. Community risk reduction is one of the biggest, most important things that we do. We try and make the community safer through education, through initiatives and those things. We do smoke alarm blitzes. We're out in people's homes every day, whether it be helping someone off the floor, checking their smoke alarms for them, or we had a call the other night for a possum in a house. So you name it, we're out there. It seems like the last call, the 911 call comes to us. So anyway, a lot of things that we do, everything that we do is planned. We do incident action planning for events, for lost persons, for incidents and those things. So it's big picture view. So we're always trying to anticipate the next thing and stay ahead of the curve. Emergency management, we do a ton of emergency management initiatives, mitigation, preparedness, response and recovery. We're constantly involved in those things. The city events, we, just like the police department, we're involved in so many events. We're asked to come out, bring the fire truck, show the kids things. It's great times there. We too have gotten a lot of grant money this year. We've been blessed. We launched our boat again, refurbed the boat at the fire station. A lot of things that you guys don't know. Our firefighters do a lot of work around the fire station. They help to save money there. We refurbed the boat. We got grants to put all the electronics and everything back on that boat and get in the water. That boat is now well equipped thanks to Duke Energy and the grant money there. The Elks Lodge has donated money. We took that money and we bought smoke alarms going homes. We did a smoke alarm blitz early in the year. We targeted a community that would not be able to physically get up and change those smoke alarms, change the batteries and those things. So we reached out and did those. We're also we got a grant from the Municipal Association of South Carolina. That grant bought us some turnout gear for our firefighters, again saving the city money. So just some of the grant money that we've purchased or gotten there. Training. So I'm going to back up a couple of slides, guys. Oh, no, our stats aren't there. Anyway, let me go forward. So our training, 2023 has been a busy year for us. We've logged over 5,000 departmental training hours. That training is anything from firefighting course. That's a small piece of what we do. Firefighting, water operations, both flat and swift water. EMT, we've you guys know, thanks to the support from council and the mayor and city staff, we have increased our drug cache. So now we're carrying the drugs to treat anaphylaxis on scene. So if someone's stung by a bee or whatever, we could administer the drugs to take care of that. Breathing difficulties, those kind of things, we're able to treat that on scene before they get an ambulance and go to the hospital. So we've been able to increase our drug cache, which has been good. We've seen some strides there. We've also increased our technical and confined space training. That's helped us to prepare and to be ready to support any kind of rope rescue or technical rescue that we may have in this city. We also have bought, thanks to the support of council and staff, we've purchased some vehicle extrication stabilization equipment. So if someone's in a car wreck, the car's on its side, on its roof, we can stabilize that vehicle, put our firefighters in there and take care of that person and get them out. Okay. Some of the things we've done this year, 17 of our members gave of their time to learn CPR. And we have gotten to the point now where our members are reaching out and teaching CPR classes to the community. It's a small piece that we're able to give back. And we anticipate doing that to more city departments. If you look at the pictures in front of you, these are just some pictures of our firefighters out training together. We do a lot of things. A lot of our training is done together. It brings us together and unifies us. The left side is water rescue training on the flat water. We have technical rope training, ropes and knots. Confined space is the third piece. Then swift water training at the foot of the dam. So very dangerous training, but a lot of fun. And we get to spend some time together doing that. Community involvement, some of the things that we're doing. Again, this is the 5th year that we've been a fire safe city in the state of South Carolina. We achieved that designation through community risk reduction. There are a ton of things that we do with that. A lot of that is involvement in school, involvement in communities, and those things. Social media views are up. I just sat down with our social media person today, and Gretchen advised us that what we're doing is working. The outreach is going very well there. Fire safety mailers, we do those. Some of you may have gotten those in your water bill. We do that as part of an outreach piece, which also pays some dividends on the ISO side. So ISO gives us credit for our outreach and the efforts that we do there. Fire safety presentations, we reached over 3,200 students this year in the schools. That's a huge success. Prior to COVID, we were at those numbers, maybe a little bit more. COVID hit, and we went backwards. We've been able to get back out and get involved in the schools and reach those children and their families. Same thing, public safety meetings. We did that with the police department, joint effort there. We've had some turnout. We'd love to have more people come. We do it quarterly just to share information, stats, and those things. In-home fire safety. So we're going out to people's homes to walk them through exit drills in the homes and those kind of things so we can help them to be safe in their own home. And then Fire Prevention Week, the open house event. We had a great open house event this past year, and we anticipate, we'd like to see all of you come out this coming year in October. We had about 250 or 300 people there and just got to display some of the equipment that we have, had kids in turnout gear. They were climbing on fire trucks, spraying water, using fire extinguishers, the whole 9 yards. It was a lot of fun. Okay, just some pictures. Some of the involvement we've had, just a High Five Friday at the school. The kids come by. We spend some time interacting with them. Obviously, a lot of time in the classrooms. And you see the kids in the fire helmets. It's always very cool to see that. Friends Helping Special Friends is one of the things that we're involved with. We actually cook for children who have some sort of a need. And it's awesome. It touches your heart. You see those kids come out, ski teams out there. A lot of other organizations are out, and they actually come out, and they get kids rides on boats, things that they wouldn't normally get to do, and we're proud to be a part of that. And Firehouse Stories. So our next Firehouse Stories is February the 10th. If you guys would like to come, we'd love to have you. We actually read to children, have a fire safety message, and allow them to climb on the fire trucks and tour the fire station. So the next one is February the 10th. Okay. Some partnerships. City departments, we're plugged in with all the city departments. Relationships there are really, really good. County agencies, very important to us. They provide mutual aid to us, and we provide mutual aid to them. Technical rescue, we're a technical rescue backup for Fort Mill, and they are for us as well. The relationships there, the training times there are really, really good. York County Fire Service, they provide some assistance with some technology pieces that we use, and so relationships there are very good as well. Emergency management, we're tied very closely to State Fire Academy and do a lot of things with them. Fire Safe South Carolina, obviously, for the Fire Safe City piece, and in the South Carolina Fire Chiefs Association. National and International Fire Chiefs Association, we're closely tied to them for training and resources for our firefighters. International Code Council for building code and technical review. And International Fire Protection Association, whose recommendations govern a lot of things that we do. So we're tied into a lot of those pieces. Some projections for the 23-24 year, staff development focus on officer training and officer development. So we've got a lot of firefighters now who are aspiring to be officers someday in their career. So we are sending them to the National Fire Academy and to the South Carolina Fire Academy to gain certification and improve that. We're working with at-risk populations. We're trying to get some training in for same thing, mental health wellness for our firefighters and how to identify those with different mental health issues so we can help them and de-escalate situations as much as possible. Okay. Continued technical rescue training, active violence training, same thing with the PD. We've done a lot of training already with the county and with the police department. We want to encourage and continue that training with our firefighters and the police department so we act as one. Technology enhancements. We always continue technology enhancements, computers and vehicles and those things to better serve you guys, to put us on scene faster, to identify the need and mitigate those as quickly as possible. ISO Class 1 fire training, which is an incredible amount of training. Every firefighter has to get 192 hours of training over and above the mandatories, a hazmat, the driver operator, and those things. So, additional smoke alarm blitz. We hope to do another blitz this year. Reach out and get in the community and provide smoke alarms for the families. Continued EMS service enhancement through relationships with York Technical and Piedmont EMS, and then facility enhancements to our facilities to better provide for our firefighters. Okay. Real quickly, I'll go back. There's one slide missing out of this. I'll just go ahead and give you a quick recap. We had a little over 1,200 calls for service 911. You pick up the phone, dial 911, and us respond. The number of calls that we go to, the number of times we're out in the community doing public service, we don't track those in the same manner. Do have those stats on another page, but about 1,200 emergency calls for response this year. So it's amazing. Those numbers have doubled over 4 years. The 4 years that I've served, this is the 5th year that I'm here. So those calls continue to double and grow. So population is getting more dense, calls for service increase. So I too am extremely proud of the men and women that I work with. It's a great team. We spend a lot of time together. 5,000 training hours is incredible. You know, my hat's off to all of them because they're putting in the effort. So I'm very thankful. And I appreciate you guys and all you do for us.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you on my left or my right? Good evening. Tonight we are recognizing our employees of the year. The first one is Lori Steiner. Come up, Lori. Miss Lori Steiner was named the 2023 Office Employee of the Year. Lori's eagerness and ambition in accomplishing tasks before her have made her a valuable and impactful team member. Within a short period of time, Lori is self-motivated and excels in her performance, as she is committed to serving the city of TUK and its residents. Let's give Lori a hand. You stay up here. Our next team member is Mr. Dominic Novello. Dominic was named the 2023 Field Employee of the Year. Dominic is a leader within the utility department and was recently promoted to Field Operations Foreman. Dominic is a hard worker who assists his fellow colleagues without hesitation. Dominic has earned a level B in wastewater collection, a level D in water distribution, and recently graduated from the 2023 City Leadership Program. Please give him another hand. Congratulations, Dominic. And last but not least, we are recognizing Chief Glenn Hasty. Come up, Glenn. Chief Hasty was named the Mark Slocum Department Head of the Year for 2023. Chief Hasty goes above and beyond and is always willing to lend a helping hand to his teammates and provide support, not just in emergencies, but also in day-to-day interactions. His genuine compassion and warmth have helped to create a positive and inclusive work environment within the fire department and the city. Thank you.
Okay, folks, it's always good to recognize our city staff. They do a tremendous job for us every year, and just want to give you hats off to everyone this year for doing everything that you've done, continuing education, your daily jobs. You always do it excellent, and we just appreciate everything you do. So, brings us to public comments. And as always, please state your name and address. First is Dusty Flowers.
Good evening, everybody. I'm not here because I want to be, but I feel like I need to. There was an incident that happened at my house right by my mailbox on.
Need your address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Name
Randall
and address.
Flowers, 16021 Malachi Drive. On December 20th, I came home like normal, went to walk my dogs, walked out the front door, and one of my dogs got a little too close to another one that was right by my mailbox. He latched onto the neck and side of my dog's face. Took us three of us about 45 seconds to get the dog to let go. Called animal control, DHEC. Animal control doesn't really do anything for dog-on-dog attacks. DHEC sent a rabies letter, or a letter to the dog owner, and said, she had to quarantine the dog for 10 days. A few days later, somebody texted me a picture of the lady walking the dog. Melanie and I were talking to people around the neighborhood. Found out, a lot of you may know Noni and Kenny. Kenny worked, I believe, for the fire department for a number of years. She told us, this has happened before, put us in contact with Kevin Boyce, I believe is his name. I've got it in here somewhere. Before that, the same dog had bit a Doberman that was owned by Kevin, put it in the hospital as well. Wanted to mention the hold that my dog had in his neck. I could stick my thumb in. The Doberman looked the same way. Annie Gray was walking her dog, and this same dog attacked her. Through the communication with Noni and Kenny, she texted and said that she got to the point where she was afraid to walk her dogs anymore without Kenny. And she said in text that that's one of the reasons that she wanted to move, is because she didn't feel safe. Let's see what else I've got here. This past Friday, the 12th, there was a post on Nextdoor. This lady was walking down a long driveway, somebody's private property. I'm worried that this dog is going to bite somebody's child or, another person. It can't keep, running around this side of Malachi causing havoc. There's got to be something put in place. Things happen between dogs, I understand, but at some point, multiple attacks, sending several dogs that I know of and have, factual, information about to the hospital. I mean, it's got to stop at some point. So hopefully you guys can help.
Thank you, Dusty. Ruthie Smith?
Hi, Ruthie Smith, 8039 Windjammer Drive. I wrote this letter the day after the last council meeting where you guys voted to slaughter the deer. And it's taken me, and here's the letter. It's taken me all day to finally gather my thoughts around the lack of consideration and inaccurate data that you displayed at the last council meeting. Not one of you, except Gus and Tom, have personally reached out to us, which we certainly don't expect, but it comes with being respectful. You have led us for months in believing we are collaborating together in a way that will benefit our community and bring us all together by introducing a wildlife management solution that has been proven effective for reducing the herd. We gave so much to our city in a constructive and collaborative manner, honoring your requests to refrain from speaking with the media in order to not compromise your position, only to be disregarded and betrayed. We invited our wildlife fertility expert, Dr. Rutberg, to town, and then didn't even question him when the discussion of the PZP arose. You guys spoke amongst yourselves with no regard for his time. It's clear that you all want this to go away. Well, it's not going to go away, and we're not going to go away because you have chosen to sharpshoot in a densely populated city like TGK, where zero culling experts have advised you that that's a good solution. Your last-minute decision to move forward with shooting the deer demonstrates your inability to find the best solutions for our city. You let angry, loud citizens force you to do something, even though they will not see a change. You can choose to dismiss the inherent dangers that exist when you bring sharpshooters to a community like TKK. But this will only enrage the quiet, polite citizens that had faith in all of you to do what is best for our city. These same people are going to be outraged when the shooting starts next week. A suppressor does not completely silence a high-powered rifle. Residents will hear shots fired on our peninsula from dusk till dawn as people are walking the trails and kids are going to school. The one thing that stood out to the local and national media was our seemingly collaborative effort to come together as a community to adopt a PZP program into policy. TKK would serve as a leader and a role model, with the Wildlife Society helping you along the way. We didn't let you guys down and will never understand why you treated us unfairly, with zero respect and consideration for our dedication to this city.
Thank you, Ruthie. Mary Eichert.
Hi, everybody. Mary Eichert, 25015 Molokai Drive. First, I want to say how happy we are to see Carmen and Brian sitting up here on council. We are excited you're here, and we are looking forward to collaborating with you guys on the future of TKK. You both earned your seats respectively, and along with myself and everyone on the TKK Wildlife Conservation Society, we welcome you and we thank you. Speaking of thanks, Tom, you moved seats. Hi. We appreciate you and your willingness to be our group's liaison. We care so much about doing things the right way with the right people, and it was a no-brainer reaching out to you and having you advise us, collaborate with us, and help us continue to work on getting PZP up and running in TKK, so thank you. I would like to reiterate a little bit what Ruthie said about the way the cost analysis that was shown last month between PZP versus culling went down. That was really disappointing. One thing that we felt so good about from day one was your openness and willingness to collaborate with us. You took our meetings, you all hopped on Zoom calls with us, you listened, you asked questions, and we answered. We provided results, and we did that together. It felt great. Then came the city's presentation, and we had to sit there in silence with Dr. Ruppberg as our guest, and we were not able to point out any of the inaccuracies in the cost, nor were we able to comment on the fact that all of a sudden culling went from $80,000 to $64,000. It made us look like we didn't have our facts straight and that we had just made up numbers to fit a narrative. We were really let down by that. But you know what we did the next day? We went back to work, we stayed positive, we stayed committed, and we stayed true to who we are as a group. We have Tom helping us lead the way. We have two fresh new minds and open hearts helping us to do things the TKK way. Our city has been so torn up recently, we can get back to doing things together, y'all. We can do this. All five of you have stated that you believe in PZP and that it can be the future for TKK. You have an opportunity to stand behind this. You all received phone calls last week and an email today summarizing the fact that we have identified and spoken with a world-renowned wildlife management company who can start darting our deer this spring. You wanted a solution, we found one. We're no longer kicking cans. Let's get this done. Before we waste any more time and money, let's take a look at all the facts in front of us now. We have hello? Oh. It's like, I have 20 seconds left. It can happen this year. You have a choice. This doesn't involve a killing program, you guys. We can take action now. Lastly, I just have to add, TKK prides itself on being a safe place to live, but I wanted to share the story real quick. I'm going to run out of time, but just please be mindful of vigilantes. We've heard stories, people out there want to take things into their own hands, so just stay on top of that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mary. Alicia Formato.
Good evening, Council. I'm Alicia Formato, 25030 Riley Lane. SCDNR, Landfolk Management, and White Buffalo have all stated that in order for a culling program to be effective, you need to be aggressive in the first 2 years, with prophylactic killing annually thereafter. Given the sheer size of our herd, they recommend killing 300 deer each year for the first 2 years, which is not legal nor can we afford. 80 or 160 deer is not even close to being effective. Therefore, as we can all agree, population reduction must come through breaking the cycle of reproduction, which is why we've landed on PZP. It is readily available, it is legal, and we have DNR and expert support. Last month, Council justified the decision to cull over starting a PZP program because of cost, but then slipped in the fact that they are going to the Capitol this week to appeal for a permit increase. To be clear to the 5 of you and to the public, that increases the cost of a killing program to $132,000 for 16% of the deer, still well below the reproduction rate of 25%, effectively doing nothing to move the needle. Mayor has stated that the challenge with starting a PZP program now is a lack of darters readily available for hire. TGK Wildlife has identified the world's premier wildlife management company that specializes in advanced lethal and non-lethal projects and have convinced them to help our city. We now have the ability to start this project in March. This means no startup costs, no training city staff. They would be hired to get darts into our deer, period. We look forward to discussing these details further with you. Not only would killing 160 deer instead of 80 make the feasibility of the darting a project, not only would killing 160 deer instead of 80 make the feasibility of a darting project in fall of '24 less viable, but it will also waste precious tax dollars needed to pay the wildlife management company. The warier our deer are, the more expensive this project will be. Let's not make this harder than it needs to be. Before we waste any more time and money and energy, let's look at the facts in front of us. There are no more barriers to PZP. You have a choice. It is time to demonstrate leadership and to repeal the vote to move forward with the call, resist the urge to kill another 80, and commit to a long-term fertility program. And I'll ask you this. Given that the one survey conducted offered culling versus doing nothing, and now PZP is a viable option, are there really any folks out there who are okay with killing 8 to 16% of the deer when we could simply start this program now? Are your actions aligned with the will of the people? Many, if not all of you, have stated that regardless of the action needing to be taken now, you believe in a long-term fertility program for the future of TGK. Please put your money, or rather our money, where your mouth is. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Amy Burrows.
Good evening, Amy Burrows, 381 Shoreline Parkway. I just want to add my voice to the group that has just spoken. The goalpost seems to keep moving. There's an objection, and that's addressed through their work and initiative. Then there's another objection, and that's met too. To me, they very clearly demonstrated that in the long run, reproductive control is the most effective and least expensive, which I think are the two of the three things that we're most looking for. And I would add that the third would be what the community wants. They have done an incredible amount of work to research the issue, analyze data, talk to experts, bring an expert here, and now they have also gone further to find a qualified wildlife management company that is willing to dart the deer in the spring. I would ask you to take advantage of this resource and implement reproductive control instead of shooting the deer. We often talk about culling, but we need to call it what it is. And I would also say that as someone who lives here, I feel concerned about the public safety of shooting in our city limits. There are ample stories out there of situations that have gone awry when killing by shooting is used in public environment. Obviously, there are people in this community who are not going to like this idea. They are angry, they're very impatient, they seem to feel entitled and to demand that you do something through killing. When I read their posts on Facebook, they don't seem very invested in which solution is the most effective. They just seem to want something done quickly. But that is taking a rash action to appease the loudest and angriest voices is not the right way for leadership or a community to make any decision, let alone one that's pertaining to a very complicated matter like this one. Fortunately, we do have residents like the society group who are very interested in best practices. They've done all the legwork. They're giving you the solution on a silver platter. this is a solution that would work not only for the short term, but for the long term. Ultimately be more fiscally responsible. And I also think it would ultimately be more effective for the people who do want something done now. If they can wait, this will be more effective and meet their needs better. So I do hope that you will show the leadership to do what the research shows is best, not just what some angry people would ask you to do. So show us that this is a community that makes decisions with maturity, patience, information, and the desire to achieve the best long-term results. Thank you.
Thank you. Gus Machunas.
Gus Machunas. I live on Calming Way, on the new side of town, as they call it. It's different down here. So anyway, welcome Carmen and Brian, and welcome back, you guys. I just wanted to say that as you review Ordinance 77, the Marina Overlay District, which obviously being number 77, we know how old that is, and also Ordinance 585, that I have full confidence that 5 intelligent people who've dedicated at least 4 years of their life to serving their community and its residents, that you will carefully consider all the options and you will make the best decision and the right decision for not necessarily the Marina Group, the Denton Marina Group, and not necessarily the Tigacans for Smart Growth, but for all of the 13,000 or so residents of this great city that you have sworn to represent. And I want you to know that I'm one person, but I think there's people in this room and a lot of residents of the city that have the same confidence that you're well equipped to make the right decision, and you'll do so.
Thank you, Gus. Paige Howarth.
Hello, my name is Paige Howarth. I live at 26006 Morningside Drive. I'm speaking tonight to express my ongoing concerns over the recent exchange of public right-of-way, Marina Drive, to a private party. I went back today and I watched the council meeting from August of this past year when the exchange was first brought up for consideration, and I was very disappointed. Somehow we went from a consideration of a property owner's request to a unanimous vote of approval for the first reading. And we did this in just 4 minutes of time. During this 4-minute section of the meeting, council members asked a total of 4 questions prior to voting, just 4. Then, 4 minutes after introducing Mr. Denton's request to obtain city land, Mayor Gray stated, "Easy enough, I'd like to obtain a motion." Council then proceeded to unanimously approve the first motion to transfer this TGK public right-of-way to Denton Marina Group. So I ask you, where was the due diligence? Where was the methodical and thorough questions? Why was there not one question regarding the value of the land that we would be giving away? Where was the discussion regarding how giving this piece of property away would actually make it easier to develop commercially? And is that ultimately in the best interest of residents? What are the details of the sidewalk he offered to install? Would residents prefer a sidewalk rather than maintaining easy access to the marina and boat launch? How do we know that that road is actually unused? Should we do a traffic study? What about getting feedback from those who live in the area? Obviously, there were many pertinent questions that could have and should have been asked. While it's nice of council to want to help provide Mr. Denton with better access controls and security for his slip renters, how exactly does that benefit other TGK residents? I know Mayor Gray feels that the boat launch access is still fine, but just try taking a hard right with the trailer after pulling your boat out of that launch. It's practically impossible to do without getting on a portion of Marina Drive that we are now giving away. Also, you would think at the second reading there might have been some additional questions or discussion. No, not one question, no discussion. Just a unanimous vote to accommodate Mr. Denton's request to take ownership over of Marina Drive. Easy breezy. It really doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that there must be some negotiations and favoritism going on behind the scenes. This whole thing smells a bit rotten and leaves residents feeling insecure and cynical about our city government. This is exactly how public trustee roads, and I therefore request that this council vote to rescind Ordinance 585 and begin rebuilding our trust in our city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Paige. Andrea Korth.
Good evening. My comments are not about the deer or the marina, so sorry if you don't mind a change of subject. My name is Andrea Korth, and I live at 1817 Grove Park Lane. I'm in the new Windhaven development, and I live in a townhome. So I moved here in September 2022. And I have very much enjoyed it. I have been here I was in Fort Mill previously, was really looking forward to moving to TKK. So as our city has grown, we've seen that we've had multiple different types of homes. We saw earlier that previously we had a lot of single-family homes. We're adding 200 plus townhomes in the community. I understand that privacy fences have not been allowed in TKK for 10 plus years. I understand that it makes sense maybe to have privacy fences not allowed for single-family homes with large yards, plenty of exterior yard space between the homes, but I don't feel it makes sense necessarily for townhomes. We share the exterior walls, we have very, very small yards, we don't have any exterior space between them. There are side panels that are currently allowed, but those side panels are a few feet long, really doesn't give any privacy. I really don't want to see everything that's going on in my neighbor's yard, and I don't really want to have them see everything that's going on in my yard. Again, the side panels are pretty short. The currently approved sort of picket fence type that has a 60% opacity really is visually misaligned with these side panels. If you see what that looks like with those side panels, it really doesn't look well at all. It looks kind of crazy. Looks like you've got a play fence there. So I'd like to ask City Council to consider an amendment for townhome owners only to enclose their yards with private fencing to match the existing panels that are there, which is the white vinyl fencing that most townhomes have, to either enclose it completely, that would be the preference, or at least to extend it down each side so you have a little bit more privacy, since we again have 0 side yards and we are abutting to each other. Again, that's all I'm asking. Pretty simple, just asking to review that, and again, just for townhomes. Thank you very much for your time. I gave you 30 seconds back.
Welcome. Thank you. Laurel Bougie.
Hi, Laurel Bougie, 26007 Morningside Drive. So I'm going to continue on kind of the conversation I was having regarding the red line that had been proposed and regarding the Marina Overlay District in Ordinance 77. While I appreciate the efforts of Planning Commission and Council to strike the hotel from zoning, I just want to remind everyone to see the don't lose the forest between the trees. The hotel is only one proposed use. There is still a 300 capacity yacht club, restaurants, a bed and breakfast. There are still multiple uses that are improved in the current Marina overlay zoning. That's still a major concern for me, a resident who lives directly across from the marina. A hotel, yacht club, restaurant all produce the same sounds, smells, and light pollution. I would encourage Planning Committee to introduce an amendment to strike the yacht club and as well as a restaurant and Airbnbs from the zoning in addition to the hotel. If that cannot be done, I would also like planning to introduce an amendment to restrict all outdoor activity, including dining and events that would cause additional noise, lights, and smells for our residential neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laurel. Jennifer Thatcher.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the new members. Good to see the old ones again. Conveying part of Marina Drive, Jennifer Thatcher, Chelsea Daylane, I don't know if I said that. Conveying part of Marina Drive and its land opens the door to unwanted commercial development on those 5 acres. The city land, we estimated between $50,000 and $70,000. It's being transferred for $15K worth of concrete. The city already owns the land that the sidewalk would be going on. That is not very fiscally responsible. This road is heavily used in the spring and summer, not just by slip owners, but any resident trying to access the lake through that launch. Imagine a summer holiday weekend and half the road is gone. There's no need to transfer the land or the road for residential development. The ordinance was poorly planned with incomplete and inaccurate information. By calling the road unused or underused, we were skirting the law, wanting to close a public right-of-way. We might say it's not big enough for this, or it's too flat for that, but giving away the road brings us dangerously close to all of those rumors. Restaurants, yacht clubs, storage facilities, whatever it is this week. Saying planning and zoning can stop this is kind of BS. We know that planning's recommendations can be ignored and zoning can be changed. The Marina Overlay District, the changes that are proposed are incomplete and unacceptable. We're not saying stop all development. We need to keep this land and prevent unwanted commercial development in a residential area. If we're saying we could be sued for rescinding the ordinance, I would say, how did we get there? And are we going to still continue to take advice from those people who put us in this mess? If the marina owner is a good partner, why would he sue the city? At the very least, we should be trading the road for the lease on the launch and keeping enough land to widen the remaining side of Marina Drive. We need to do our best to protect the residential zoning designation for the 3 acres that abut the 2 acres that are commercial. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Tommy Racco.
Hi, I just want to comment on having fence around my property. I think it should be allowed. We should be able to have a fence around our own property. I'm sure everybody here has a fence around their property. I mean, I have a townhome, and I think a fence for your own privacy, for your own property. I mean, if you're having company or something, you don't want everybody in your backyard. You don't want dogs walking back and forth. It's common sense. We should be able to have our own fence around our property. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you very much.
Robert Wiersbicki? Okay. Ray Hain? Ray Hale. Sorry, it looks like an N. Okay. Pam Osborne?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I stand before you again this evening with my questions about Ordinance 585, most of which remain unanswered. They were posed in my November 20th email to Council, during public comments on December 18th to Council, and in a subsequent email to Council 2 days ago. Since November, much more factual information has become available, which further supports that this ordinance must be rescinded in full, should never have been created, nor approved in such haste as it was. These many reasons are detailed in my most recent email to all of you, which I'm happy to share with anyone attending tonight or listening. You cannot close a portion of a public right-of-way, which is what all of Marina Drive is, without reason. It is a 40-foot public right-of-way to a true public marina. Mayor Gray, this road is not a private driveway, as you stated to Alice Dublisky. Your reason for the conveyance given to her, and I quote, The city does not wish to maintain a private driveway, nothing more, unquote. Yet documents in the public record I have seen from as early as mid-2022 show this is far more to this than has ever been disclosed. I believe that if council had exercised the proper due diligence and not rushed this process through in a mere matter of minutes, you too would have discovered that not only are you proposing to give away land you don't own, that the sidewalk land you propose to gain in exchange is already owned by the city, and that a public right-of-way is just that, public. I know these surveys are small, my eyes are bleeding too. But as the saying goes, the devil is in the details, and the details are part of the big picture here that were overlooked. I again ask you to rescind Ordinance 585, its proposed amendment, and the contract for exchange, which should be deemed invalid due to erroneous data in both Exhibits A and B used in the contract as legal descriptions. Thank you.
Thank you. Christoph Halverson.
Christoph Halverson, 8026 Windjammer. Just wanted to say thank you to Charlie and as well as council members Carter and Miller for being so responsive when I recently asked about a minor street crossing issue. I know you two responded like the day you got your email turned on, so that was so refreshing. Thank you. And then also thank you to Councilmember Hylip for getting out there with a chainsaw after the storm and helping residents out. Phenomenal servant leadership. And then last but not least, Councilmember Shirley, when a resident recently asked on Facebook how they could get their drain cleaned, you told her to get out there with a rake and do it herself. So I just wanted to offer for if anyone ever needs help cleaning their drain or anything else, they can always ask me because I care about the city and care about helping people. So, and you're also still in violation of City Resolution 2022-12 by blocking me on social media. And it's also known as the Shirley policy for people who can't handle themselves on social media.
Thank you, Mr. Halverson. All right, that'll bring us to our approval of minutes. Individually, yeah. So we need to approve our special city council meeting on December 11th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the special city council meeting on December 11th, 2023.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion, deletions, additions, subtractions, multiplications? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Mayor, for the record, Ms. Miller and Mr. Carter aren't voting. They're abstaining on the December 11th and December 18th as they were not on council at that time. So it'll be a three.
A quorum of three, right?
Yep. I need a motion to approve the regular city council meeting minutes for December 18th, 2023.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I make a motion to approve the minutes as they stand.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additions, discussions, subtraction?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the last one, special city council meeting, January 4th, 2024.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the special city council meeting at January 4th of 2024.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Sorry.
I second that motion.
Have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion, subtractions, deletions, or multiplications? Anything? Okay.
No.
Well, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay. We have some new business. It's an introduction and a first reading of an amendment to the zoning code ordinance 77 as it relates to the Marina Overlay District. This is the introduction and first reading of an amendment to the zoning code ordinance 77 as it relates to the Marina Overlay District. The Marina Overlay District, which was established in 2011, provides for conditional uses of properties within the district. Currently, Article 20 lists a hotel as a permitted use. Based on input and concerns expressed by the public over the last few months, the intent of the amendment is to remove a hotel as a possible use due to potential consequences a use of that magnitude may impose on the immediate neighborhood. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the introduction and first reading of an amendment to the zoning code ordinance 77 as it relates to the Marine Overlay District and remove hotel as a conditional use within the district.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I got a question. I was just chirping in the mayor's ear when he's trying to read. My apologies. Charlie, the planning met this earlier for the public hearing about this. Do we have to hear their recommendation?
You have to have that recommendation before your second read.
Before the second.
So
okay.
it's my understanding that Planning Commission at their February meeting
Okay.
will vote and take an official position on this potential amendment so that at your regular February council meeting, you can consider a second and final read on this.
All right,
if that's
thank
what
you.
council
Okay,
wants to do.
point of order, if I may, Charlie and Bob, if you can keep me straight on this. Because of public interest on this and council's assessment of what's going on here, I'd like to make a recommendation, if council would agree, that we ask Planning Commission to dig into ordinance 77 and take a look at it in its entirety and see what changes should be made to 77. My understanding is, thank you, my understanding is when 77 was put in place, it was a time when our city desperately needed commercial revenue. We've developed a lot of commercial revenue since that time and still have some coming. And I don't know if everything in 77 is complementary of the direction we need the city to go in that area. So my suggestion would be that we ask planning to take a look at that, see if there's some revisions they'd recommend.
I mean, if that's the direction council wants to go, then staff can actually go, can carry through with that. But just as a point of order, you do have a motion and second on a specific item right now. But as far as what Mr. Shirley brought up, unless I'm told otherwise by a majority of council that no, they don't want Planning Commission going through 77, then that'll be the path that we go. And I'll work with Nick on that.
Any objections from my fellow council members on that?
Yeah, but I think for this discussion, maybe we come back to this during council comments.
Okay. Fair enough.
So we can stay on this specific topic.
Thank you.
So I would ask Councilman Shirley, if you would, please be the solicitor of that said request to the Planning Commission.
I'll own that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, I think Councilman Miller has something.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but don't we, it's on. This time it's on. Don't we still have a motion on the table right now?
For the
as-
hotel.
Yes, you do.
as is?
Yes,
Okay,
you do.
so-
You've got a motion and a second. Right now, you're in discussion on that. It should be on this
Okay.
topic only.
So-
And then the mayor can call for a vote at any point.
I would like to propose that we table the vote on the hotel as it stands right now because of the questions that were brought up regarding the road.
So from a procedural standpoint, that is a new motion.
Yes.
And you've got to take action on the motion that you have now.
Wait,
Or
not a tabling motion.
Or
Tabling motion overrides.
if whoever, I think Mr. Hylip made the second, Mr. Shirley, I believe you made the first. If y'all want to amend your motions for whatever reason, you can, but you do have a motion that needs a vote at this point.
Does the tabling, does that not supersede
Yeah.
we have to vote on that first?
You've already got a motion, you've got a second.
Tabling, Robert's Rule Orders tabling overrides any current motion.
Overrides the motion.
There's a motion on the floor that you've got to deal with.
But tabling overrides that motion. You don't have to deal with it. But if you look at Robert's Rules.
Well, that's called voting against it, if you want to override it.
Well, then we can rescind our motion in second then.
Correct.
We can, but I don't think you have to.
Okay.
On Robert's rules, is tabling motion, I mean,
Since we're in discussion, Carmen, could you elaborate a little bit on why you would, and I'm not challenging, I just want clarity for me and for the residents on tabling the hotel decision until we have further discussion on the road, on the 585.
The point was made that the road is attached to the hotel, and the point was also made that there are other possible developments that would be impacted by additional drive, additional cars. And I feel that if we're going to be considering removing the hotel, then we should also consider how that removing that part that is only attached to the hotel would impact anything else that might be built in the future. Meaning that you can build a yacht club, you can build a restaurant, and it does not have that same line item attached to whether that is approved or not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Bob, can we get some clarity on this? Because it sounds like some council members feel that the tabling negates the motion in second.
I think you have a motion on the floor. If you want to table it, then that's a different vote. Now, I think right now there is the consideration on the first and the second. If you don't want to consider that, then you need to reverse that. And then, if you want to table it, you could take a vote on tabling it.
Councilman Hylip?
I respectfully disagree. We can worry about that later if who made the first motion.
I made the first motion, you made the second.
And I made
right?
the second.
Right.
All right, so I didn't, just
go
before
first.
before I rescind my second, I just want to clarify with Carmen. So we want to, instead of voting on removing the hotel this evening, we would go back, go to planning, and look at everything, and then come together and vote on however we feel at that point about everything that planning comes back with.
I think we need to review how removing that road widening affects anything else that might be built there.
I got you.
Right? So
In the
I
red
don't want to
line.
rush through saying that we're doing something good and at the end realize that we've opened something else that may be objectionable.
Understand. Got it. Yeah, the red line where it said the road. Okay.
Yep.
I rescind my second.
I rescind my motion.
Okay. So I will entertain a new motion.
Councilman Miller?
I would like to motion that we table this discussion regarding the removal of the hotel as part of the Marina overlay until we have time for further research.
I have a motion to table. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this? I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Good point,
Table.
Councilman Miller. Well done.
That will bring us to our city manager's report. Mr. Funderburk, if you would, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'll be brief this evening. First and foremost, thank you for your patience over the past several days as I've been recovering from shoulder surgery. And thank you to Joey Blethen for your stepping up in leadership and guidance while I was out. I greatly appreciate that. Really want to give a shout out to our frontline staff, both public safety and our public works, Parks Rec staff, even our utility staff. The storm last Tuesday, I think everybody can say is kind of one of those unprecedented storms that comes through from time to time and drops a lot of water, creates a lot of mess. And our folks had a lot of trees they had to remove that had fallen in roadways and things of that nature. Really, really do appreciate their efforts that they've put in. As Chief Hasty mentioned earlier, we do have February 10th coming up with our story time with the firefighters. Hopefully get a good turnout for that. And both he and Chief Crosby both mentioned, the quarterly meetings that they hold, where they're giving the stats. I know some of you on council have attended, some of the public have attended, but it's really 6 or 7 people that show up for those. And it's a lot of great information that I know that they and the members of their department spend a lot of time putting together. Really hope the public turns out for the next one. Great time to hear from both of our chiefs. Great time to understand what's happening in the community, what they're working on and things like that. So hopefully that attendance will pick back up when they do their next one. But Mayor, that's all I've got for your report this evening.
Thank you, sir. And with that, we will cover council comments. Let's see. Go to the left. Councilman Carter.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening at the City Council meeting. Thank you, everyone that is watching via live stream. And just wanted to let you guys know, everybody that spoke during the public comments, your voices are heard. So, and you can see a demonstration of that this evening. We're looking to really understand exactly what you guys are looking for and what we want for our city. So talk about the hotel and making sure that we do that right, but combining that with really reviewing everything for the Marina overlay and making sure that we're doing what's right for our city. So your voices are heard. So thank you guys for coming here and speaking up. So appreciate that. With that being said, I want to echo some of Charlie's comments. Last week we had a storm that was crazy. There was a whole bunch of water. There was a lot of damage out there. But I really want to thank TKK Police Department, TKK Fire Department, Public Works, Parks and Rec, a lot of the members of the city. They were out there in the storm, responding to emergency calls, removing tree limbs, clearing storm drains. They were doing a lot of stuff out there, you guys, out there in the elements. So they did a really wonderful job, and I really want to say thank you for them. My hat's off to every one of them that was out there. Okay? Special comment. One of the things that I did when I ran, I really want to focus on building unity in the community. And one of the first things I want to tell everybody is make sure that we understand that we are one TKK. We are not, the peninsulas TKK and the newer sections are not TKK. We are one TKK. I don't care if you're over in Cadence or you're here in Harbor, same thing. If you're Serenity Point or Anchorage, it's the same thing. Lake Ridge, Lake Shore, we're all one TKK, and I really want to make sure we focus on that and building unity in our community, okay? Part of the other thing that I want to do is I want to focus on positivity and optimism. So I said that when we got sworn in. Positivity and optimism is one of those things where I really want to recognize a resident or a member of our community who does something. They don't want recognition for it or anything like that, but I want to focus on that. Like Chief Crosby was talking about his police department and things that they do, and they wanted to recognize that. I really want to make sure that we recognize our residents. We are really quick to point out when someone's doing something wrong and say, hey, that's wrong, I don't like that, I don't like it. But I don't think we spend enough time in order to focus on the positivity that our community does, because we do. I recognize that Councilmember Hylip out there cleaning storm drains. Those are awesome things. But we have a member in our community that was, during the holidays, all they wanted to do was go off and gather clothing, jackets, food, shoes, heaters, that kind of good stuff. And they wanted to give back to somebody that didn't have a lot. And they wanted to give out to the homeless that was in our community and surrounding communities. Those are things that are awesome. It was a selfless act. Wanted to go off and give back to people that were less fortunate. That's the kind of stuff that I actually want to recognize while I'm on council and really recognize for my comments. So awesome job. The guy, I'm not going to give his full name, but his first name is Dax. Awesome job, Dax. I don't think he's here or anything like that, but good job. Awesome. Yeah, he was good. He was good stuff. The last thing, I'm here. We're all here for you guys. I want to make my family proud. I want to make you guys proud. So thank you guys for voting us in. We're happy to serve, want to do that. Last thing I'm going to say is my son's birthday is today, and I want to say happy birthday, Miles. I got to get it in there. You got to get in. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Councilman Carter. Councilman Hylip, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, as always, and echoing Councilman Carter's point, thank you all for being here. I try to say it every month. We value your input. We take your input. These the public comments are always a little strange. If you think it's odd down there, it's even worse sitting up here because you want to respond and answer your questions and say stuff and you can't directly. And so it's an odd situation, but we're listening. We're taking notes, and we're taking everything you say into account. As part of that, I wanted to ask Charlie in planning, and I'll follow this up with an email to take ownership of it, but if planning could take a look at the privacy fences for townhomes. I understand, when this was passed years ago was for privacy fences around, single-family homes. But maybe there's a, exception or a middle ground for townhomes. Because I know some of these townhomes were built, they didn't even know they weren't allowed the privacy fences. Now they're being forced to take them down. And so maybe that's something we could look at and potentially even pause the forcing taking them down until we get to a resolution on this. Is that something?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, planning, police and fire, great presentations tonight. Thanks for everything you guys do. The storm last week, I think, really highlighted. I think all the residents would agree. The staff, really out there working to protect the city, protect the people, keep us all safe, and that's across the board. Tree limbs falling down, cleaning roads, and keeping people safe. So thank you for that. Congratulations to Lori, Dominic, and Glenn for the employees and Department Head of the Year. A great job. Thank you so much. I wanted to, the Wildlife Society, thank you. You guys have done awesome. I echo this to you every time I see you, every time I say the work you've done is amazing. And I just want to say personally, me, one member, I'm fully supported to get PZP as a long-term solution for this city. I will say the vote to call was made, and my justification is that at the time, right, PZP, if we start PZP next month, that stops the birth next year. So the calling, although it may limit or, make applying to PZP harder in the near future, the calling will start an immediate reaction, even though it's not as many as we may need. Any amount reduction helps, but then we move into PZP for the future, and next year, in the spring, this time, coming up, less babies will be born. And so I tell you that, but I respect everything you've done. I'm your partner. I'm going to work with you on this, hand in hand and get this. I want to get this done. I want to do PZP in TKK, be the model for the country. We'll be the first ever. We'll be the first ever to have a deer management program with PZP, and all because of your work. We take no credit. It's all your work, so thank you for that. Let's see. With that, I had some notes. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Hylip. Councilman Shirley, if you would please, sir.
Yes, sir. So for the benefit of those watching and those that are seated here, I will clarify a comment that I was quoted on. I absolutely did not tell a resident to get a rake out and clean their drain. I told them that my drain clogged, and that's what I did. And then folks like that gentleman sensationalized that comment to make it look more negative than it was, and I deleted it because I didn't want to perpetuate that negativity. That's how that went. Now, another popular subject. Let's talk about the deer. This council and previous council has spent the better part of 2 years researching a tremendous amount of detail to come to a decision on the deer that's popular for some and not popular for others. This isn't a popular job up here. This is a job that we do based on the information that we have to make the best decisions for the city. Sometimes we screw it up. We do. Sometimes we don't. We try to get it right every time. I promise you we do. And the decision that we made, I hail Councilman Hylip's comment that we needed some action now, and we needed to continue to move forward with a long-term solution, which we will. We do appreciate the work that's been done to move forward with a process to reduce the herd. Comment was made tonight that we did not question Dr. Rutberg when he was here. Absolutely false. Several of us asked him several questions. Go back and watch the video. It was also commented that shooting was not recommended by any expert. Also false. The wildlife biologist from DNR has been here more than once and told us that is the most practical solution. He's been doing this for well over 20 years, is the foremost expert in wildlife management in South Carolina, and that was his recommendation from the very beginning. We did not make a hasty decision to do that. We took 2 years to research this with multiple pieces of information to come to the right decision. I believe we've made the right decision and will continue to move forward with the PZP process as we go forward. Congratulations, Lori, Dominic, and Glenn. I know that's already been said, but that's quite recognition from your peers and from your staff. Hats off to all three of you, and especially hats off to the folks in public safety that are the unsung heroes. Most of them have left and gone back to work tonight, but we really appreciate what they do, and hearing the stories of what they give this community every day is, I got to tell you, it was hard to hold back the tears listening to the hearts that our staff has to look after our community. I'm very, very grateful for that. Chief Crosby has some work to do to catch up with 5,000 hours in training, though. Chief Hasties, great job there. I thought 1,900 hours in training was pretty good, but man, you guys are really doing a heck of a job. Thank you for what you do. In development services, this can't go without being said, but I did the math on this. It looks like, if I did it right, 1,966 permits were issued last year. That's an average of 40 a week, or almost 8 a day. So if you're applying for a permit in the city, please be patient with that group. They're busy. And I appreciate what y'all do to make sure that what we're putting up is to code and is proper, and people aren't going to be falling through floors, and we're doing the right thing by our city. So thank you for everything that you all do. That's it for me.
I think I'm much shorter and sweeter.
Definitely sweeter.
Thank you to all of our public works, stormwater, TCUD, police, fire, all of you guys that stepped in and did the work last week during that storm. It was Brian and I's first week. I think we were here for like maybe a couple of days when that thing hit. And I know our phones were going off constantly with updates of where there were trees that were down, where the power was off, where water was coming in, and that there was a response that was being done. I feel that it was something that none of us had really experienced before. That amount of water, that amount of wind that came in so fast, it took all of us by surprise. And what I feel is that all of our departments are going to take some time to evaluate how they prepared, and if there's any places of improvement, because anytime that you have a situation that comes up, there's always an opportunity to look at that and review and improve, so that if there was a second time, that you're better prepared for that. I appreciate how much love Chief Crosby and Chief Hasty have for their staff and their officers. It was very evident that they see them not just as people that work for the city, but as part of their families. And it really made me think of how that type of relationship is what we should all aim to have with our neighbors and each other. And it also brought to light all the things that we are not working on in making better. So as a council and as a city, I think that we have a lot of work to do. I look forward to really making that a mutual effort to work with you in making things better for all of us, in ensuring that there is trust, in ensuring that there's communication, and ensuring that there's action. I've received so many emails and text messages and calls in the last 2 weeks of people that had concerns, had questions, had ideas, had issues that they had had ongoing issues, and it's really made me think about the time and effort that all of you guys put in to come forward and bring that to us. And I want to assure you that I am listening, that we are listening, and that we want to be part of that solution and that conversation in a way that moves us forward. The comments that I see on social media, and believe me, I'm not going to engage, but I do see you, are incredibly hurtful and negative to what I believe we can be and where I believe that we need to reach for. So I challenge all of us to do better in how we communicate with each other. If I ever drop the ball, please feel free to call me and tell me I expected better from you. But please don't put it on social media. The other thing is that we're starting our chats with council as an effort to promote that communication and to have that ability to not just listen to you the way that we do here, where you say your concerns and you state the issues that you're having and we have no way to answer back. The chat with council is an opportunity for that two-way conversation, which is, I think, the best way to build trust and to get the correct information. By the time that I get a question that someone asked someone else, I may not even know what the question was. And the same thing for you. By the time that you get a response that someone else told you, you may not have the right response either. So please come and talk to us. This will be a monthly opportunity for two of us to spend time with as many of you as want to come and ask questions. We'll see how it goes. We may need to, we set it for an hour. If we need more, we need more. If nobody comes, then Tom and I will be chatting with each other. But I hope that you do see that as a true, honest extension of where I want to lead and what I want to have, and those are conversations. And then the last thing I want to say is that I'm challenging all of these guys here to do that polar plunge and raise money for the South Carolina. Yeah, well, you've done it already, but you haven't done it with me and you haven't done it with Brian. So I am challenging them, and I think we're all should jump, but I want to see who raises the most money.
Good. All right. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Miller. So that brings it to me. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for attending tonight. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the time that you spent and the effort you spent in posing those thoughts. We do hear you. We do listen to you, and we appreciate everyone being here this evening. Chief Hasty, Dom, Lisa, we really appreciate all that you put in this year. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for what you've done for the city for this year, and congratulations on your award. Chief Crosby, once again, thank you very much. Everything you do, and our outstanding law enforcement department, they never cease to amaze. I would encourage each one of you, if you want to see miracles happen and blessings occur, to attend anything that the fire department and the police department have going. The Christmas purchase, the presents and everything with the kids, it'll bless your heart. And the officers that we have and the dedication they have to making TKK is the best that it can be, both in the fire department and in the PD. It's second to none. These guys, they put their lives on the line every day for us, and not only do that, they also have engagements. We had, if you boil down everything that these guys did, it was something every week that was going on in the city. So I would encourage everybody to come out for that. To our other city staff, thank you very much for all you did for us this past week and continue to do for us, and especially in the past year. Folks, it takes a special kind of person to get out in the weather and brave those elements. When you're sitting in your house watching things fly by, there's those of us that are out on the street that are putting things back together as you are watching things fly by. It is a very precarious situation to be 40 feet in the air in a bucket trying to put a traffic signal back together when you see trees and lawn furniture and people stuff in their car flying by you. It's kind of tough. So hats off to all those guys. I know exactly where you are. We do it day in and day out. And for our new council members, thank you for dedicating your time and your efforts and in service to the community. To our council members, both former and those that are still with us, thank you for your continued efforts as well. Folks, please be patient. There are procedures that we have to adhere to. There are plans that we have to go through, and they are going to take a little time. We can't do things overnight. There's legalities, there's hoops that we have to jump through to get there. We will get there, and we will be better for, TEK will be better for it. Just be patient as we get there. We're going to vet everything to the nth degree and make sure that we do things right. To our TEK Wildlife Conservation Society, I am fully on board with you with PZP. I don't know that PZP is going to be a long-term solution for us, because there are strides that are being made every day and improvements that are being made every day in that area. So PZP couldn't be a short-term solution for us, and they could come out with something that's even better in the future. So being a long-term thing, I think the best that we could do right now is for it to be a short-term thing, and for us to manage our herd in that manner. And going forward, I look forward to a bright future in that. So I just want to continue to thank you for your efforts and all of the hard work that you put into this. It's countless hours, and we really appreciate that. And thank you for not being disheartened. Sometimes we have to do things that are not popular, and sometimes we have to do things that folks don't want us to do, and that's where we sit. But just know that we all have TEK in our best interest in everything that we do. And I just want to encourage everyone, like always, if you see a need, try to help them. If you see somebody that needs a hug, reach out and give them a hug. If you see somebody that just needs a hand, whether it be in the yard, whether it be in their home, be there for them and help them. We've got a lot of able-bodied folks in TEK that can pitch in and help each other. We did that this last week. Folks had trees that are on their house. Some folks had trees that are down in their yards, and it's neighbor helping neighbor. Hugo was a prime example of that for TEK. So I just want to encourage everyone to think a little bit more about your neighbor, think a little bit less about yourself. And with that, I will...
Mayor, real quick,
Yes, sir.
before we move to executive session, just a reminder for the public that we are accepting applications for Planning Commission, BOZA, EDC. We've gotten some that have come in, but please go to our website, find the link, and apply. Apply to get involved and volunteer. We need applicants.
Yep,
So that is open at this
Absolutely,
point.
absolutely. We've got a lot of spots to fill, folks, so please think about dedicating some time and efforts into our committees. And with that,
I'd like to make a motion for us to go into executive session.
I have a motion to go into executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are in executive session.